Okay guys, Jeff Beggins here today with Tactical Tuesday, and we have a really special guest with us today, Miss Sherry Keenan, over here at just one of our beach offices. The reason Sherry's here today is for the tactical side of this business. She's doing a tremendous job, new in the business. How long have you been doing this now, Sherry?
A year.
1 year in, okay? And you just had a pretty cool success story. What did you just list?
I just listed a waterfront home on Treasure Island for $1,640,000.
$1,640,000. How many other $1 million listings have you had?
Zip.
Okay, so she knew zippo about the luxury market. She had no track record in high-end luxury. She had no reason logically that this person should have listed with her because of her track record, but you still got it, which I think is pretty cool to those who are watching here today, because if you can do it, everybody can do it. And right? And yes. And I meant that, and it's a real statement.
Yes.
So this was interesting because this hits so many topics, which is why I want to use this. So this particular seller, how did you first find him or them?
I went online and I looked at expired listings, and I found that this was only listed for a couple of months and it expired, and so I went to his house and visited him. Okay,
so didn't have any other thing besides, but you did kind of one of the things we talk about is you go farming the expired. You saw the expired, you said, oh, that would be really nice. Man, that's a nice listing. And then I know your drunk monkey kicked in. So I haven't ever listed. Why are they going to list with me? What's going on? Right? But you overcame that, which is an important point that I want to make sure we hit, is you said, screw it, I'm going. And you knocked on the door.
Yes.
And then what happened there?
Well, I was doing a video text because he didn't answer the door, and my car was in the driveway, and the door opened, and I was blocking him. So I got to introduce myself to him. He couldn't get out. And I introduced myself to him, and he said, okay, I have to take my kids to a baseball game. You know, I'll call you in the morning. I said, okay. And that's how it started.
I like this. So the strategy is she just blocks them into their house so they can't leave and they're forced to talk. I got it. You just happened to be there at the right time. But listen to what she did. She knocked on the door. He didn't answer. So she pulled out her phone. She did a video text to try to separate herself from the world. In the process of that, he just so happened to be leaving his house, and he connected, and you look different than everybody else because you're active and aggressive and you're there, right? So I think that was score number one for you.
Right.
And then did you get the listing right away?
No.
What did he do?
He said, okay, I'm not sure that I'm ready to list it yet. I've been trying to sell it myself on Zillow. And I said, that's fine.
Great. Now, notice what she didn't do. You idiot. People don't sell their houses on Zillow, especially in this price point. What are you doing? It's too expensive. What are you doing? What are you doing? Agents sell houses. You didn't fight with him at all, right?
Right.
And I think what's another cool thing is you noticed something when you researched the property. How did he try to sell it before?
Well, he sold it on...
Tried to sell it.
He tried to sell it on with a brokerage where he would have to do all the work. It was sort of a FSBO type of agency. And I thought that when I did the analysis for the pricing that it was too low.
All right, a couple of things on this one. Number one, the company that he was listed with before was a limited service one. It's in all of our markets. This is worse than any limited service brokerage in the world because how much did they charge him?
0.
0% listing commission.
Right.
Oh my God, why would he ever pick a traditional real estate company that's good when he doesn't have to pay any commission? Because you get what you pay for, which in this case was zero. Right? So that's right on par with that business model, but he tried it.
Right.
So now you've got a person who is an expired and a FSBO, right, all rolled into one and didn't want to hire anybody because he didn't really have to. And I think this is an important couple takeaways here. He didn't hire the right person yet because he wasn't ready to.
Maybe.
Right? He was walking down a path of motivation, which it takes a while. So he tried it. He's moving to California.
Right.
And things were just an idea. And then now they're getting to the point where they're actually looking at homes in California.
Right.
So the move is becoming real, and so is his work to actually to get it sold now. Right. And then a couple really good points here that tie into everything that we're talking about. When you read his sold bot description, what did you learn about him?
That he took a lot of pride in the building of his home, in the details of his home, and how sound and well made his home is.
Okay. This guy went so detailed in as far as the depth of the pilings that were used when he actually drove down to build the house was at a 50-foot depth. I mean, he was so analytical as far as what he's actually doing. He just really showed you
Not only that, but there were 23 50-foot pilings. in the house.
Now, to a lot of people, that would just be, oh, cool, 23, 50-foot pilings, no big deal. But because we spent a lot of time together and with this training, and we realized that that was neutral, realized what he is, and then you actually kind of pivoted your sales process to be like him, because people like people who are
Part
like
of our
themselves,
tribe.
right?
Right.
But most
Yes.
like him. So you were able to say, wait a second, I've got a super analytical guy here who's telling me he's analytical. So your sales presentation process became a little more systematic, a little more analytical. So you were able to actually speak his language, which build trust and credibility. So this was 4 months ago, over 4 months ago,
Right.
was the first I blocked him into his garage move,
Right.
that he did. And you just got this listing about a week ago.
A week ago.
So
and he waited for me to come back from Colorado to boot.
Okay.
He knew I was away, and he says, I'll just wait for you to come back.
No, I know this story intimately because Sherry is no stranger to blowing my phone up all the time. And I hear about all the stuff that's going on, which I love. That's my job. We're business partners, right?
Yes.
So every time she comes up with something, we talk about it and we strategize and we say, go do this, and you go do it.
Yes.
And it works. So what I think is really commendable here is this was 4 months of just totally holding on to this lead because in your mind, you believe you were the right person for this job.
Yes.
And you 100% exude that when you talk with people. So he doesn't going to question that because he knows that you believe that.
Yes.
So he wasn't going to question it because you don't question it. And
Right.
you had no reason to believe you were good because you haven't sold anything in that price range ever before.
All right, let's not broadcast that.
It's broadcasted because it's true and it's real and it's raw. But he didn't know that because I think what a lot of people misunderstand is the fact that they think that it's all them and that they're an island and they have to get that listing. So what did you kind of do? Because I know we talked about different strategies here. So how did you help overcome the fear that it never even came up that you weren't credible to
Right.
sell in that price point? So how did you leverage? What did you do there?
Well, I shared with him the presence that Century 21 has in the global workplace, not just in the United States, but internationally. And I feel that there is a lot of international business that's coming in here. So I shared with him that we have the presence and we are marketing everywhere. And I used the presentation that Beggins has that shows that we go on 800 different websites. I shared with him the photography tour that we provide on an interactive floor plan. I said, we're going to get so many eyeballs on this house, we are going to find the buyer for the house. We just don't limit ourselves to one way of marketing this home.
Now it got worse because I heard about this all the way along the way, the ups and the downs. And oh my God, I got an appointment and oh shit, he canceled it. Oh my God, I got an appointment and oh, he's got a friend in the business. He's never going to hire him. He's got a friend he's never going to do. I don't know what he's going to do. But you still stayed in the game.
Yes.
So he had a friend that he was going to hire. Does anybody ever heard that before? Yes. So you were able to get this listing. I think I want to repeat this. You have zero experience in the luxury market. He has a friend in the business. He had a 0% discount brokerage. Right? And he feels that he can do it on his own. So you can't get the deck stacked more against you than what you did, which is why you're sitting here today, because the persistence went through. So it's over 4 months of saying, are you ready yet? In your own way, but
Yes.
connected in a way that he trusted you, because you're not ever hungry for it. You don't have commission breath. You're not desperate for the business. You're just, you know that you were the right person for that job.
Yes.
And that's what happened. To the fact that you were on vacation, he called you and said, I'm ready. And you said, well, I'm not. I'm on vacation. And he said, well, I'll wait. That's pretty awesome. So you know.
Well, I did offer to fly back.
See,
I did. I
Smart.
offered to fly back, and he says, no, that's okay.
all right. So let's put the business hat on for a second. So this is a $1.6 million listing,
Yes.
and you talked to him for about 4 months, and
Yes.
so about 4 weeks a month. So you got about 16 contacts
Yes.
with this person. Now this is about an $80,000 to $100,000 commission, right? Gross. So $80,000 commission divided by 16 attempts. So it's $5,000 you earned every time you spoke with this guy. Is that a different way of looking at this business?
Yes.
So now every for sale by owner or expired listing that you're talking to in that price range, every contact is worth $5,000 in your bank account.
That sounds good.
Thing. When you realize that it's a numbers game and it's a progress and it's persistence. It's all about persistence. So from a tactical perspective, what I want this to do for those watching is to give that empower, educate, encourage, right? That's our mantra, everything that we
Yes.
do. So to an agent that's kind of really wants to do what you're doing and get the courage to go up to that door, what do you say to them?
Do it. I just say do it.
When their brain tells them they're not good enough or they're going to be called out, they're a fraud, they're not good in that price point, the guy's going to ask them how many homes they sold. Well, how did you overcome the doubt that was in your brain?
To be honest, I never worried about that part of it.
Okay.
I felt that the more knowledge I could have, the better able I could service him. So understanding that he was very analytical and a number cruncher, I spent a lot of time on comps and analyzing the marketplace. We actually did several rounds of analyzing the comparables to determine the price for it. And when I came back to him and I said that his property was really worth a lot more than what he was actually originally advertising for it, we sat down and looked at the numbers and we drilled through them. And I think that's how we developed a sense of trust with each other.
100%, because his tribe taught him that analytics means everything.
Right.
And you took the time to A, recognize it and B, appreciate it, and C, deliver that. So
Right.
he realized that you were here speaking his language for his best interest, and you had credible stats and analytics behind you, which is what he craves. He doesn't even know he craves that. That's just what he feels comfortable with. So kudos to you to recognizing that, because a lot of people just go at a sale in the mode that they're in. And if
Right.
you're not a person, like a super analytical person, you're not going to go into super analytical mode. You're enough, you know enough to crank that up a bit.
Right.
So he appreciated your analytics more than typically
You
you
know,
would
he
have.
was actually surprised. I mean, what I do is when I do the spa, and I use our spa to do that, is I print out the listings for every single house that I used in the spa, and I printed all the pictures of that house. So we could actually look and say, okay, you know, you have all this lighting in the backyard, you have this pool, this house has no landscaping, which I know he took a lot of, you know, so I took the features and did use that spot, and that was actually very helpful to him, because a lot of times sellers, they think they know their market and they think they've been tracking what's been selling. And he would throw out different addresses, and I'd say, oh, here. And I'd have it ready for him. So I think being prepared and having the information with you is really important when
100%.
especially a FSBO. Someone who's trying to sell a home on their own takes a lot of pride in thinking that they know their marketplace.
Yep.
So-
And you connected to with honesty, talking about the old pictures and everything too. Now, how did you overcome, this is an important question too, the objections that he's going to list with his friend? This was a big one, right? This is a tough one, because you got a husband and a wife that has a mutual friend who's an agent who, in this case, is going to take $80,000 or $100,000 out of their family's mouths to give it to this stranger that blocked him in his driveway one day. Right? This reality, that's what happened.
Right.
So you were able to overcome the biggest objection in that business. And how do you think we were able to do that?
Well, we had a different spin. Actually, it was really funny when he hit me at the garage, when I hit him at the garage, and he said, well, I'm kind of working with a realtor. And I said, do you have an agreement? And he said, no. I said, okay, then you need to give me a chance.
See, that's it.
That's
That's
what
that
I said.
instinct, though, Sherry,
Right.
that a lot of people don't have the internal guts to go to that level, because, oh, you're working with an agent. Okay, well, if it doesn't work out, give me a call. Nope. you just said, okay, got it. Did you sign with him? Nope. Okay, open game.
Right.
Right? And because that's just what you saw.
And that's what I did. And so we have a program for the auction program, and we've been launching it. And so when I was talking to Jeff, he's like, why don't you throw the auction idea out to him? And I did. And I said, here is this auction that we've been doing, and we have a website. And I actually called Josh and I called Jim, and I said, I need to understand how this works. So I really drilled into it. I met with them, learned how the program works, and I presented it to my seller, and he was totally intrigued and loved the idea, because for him, and we talked a great deal about doing this auction, and when it came right down to it, he says, you know what, that's how I'm going to deal with my realtor friend. I'm going to say, she has something that you don't have.
Love it. That's the whole name of this game. Is he wanted to buy you because he trusted you and you spoke his language. Remember, people buy with emotions and they justify with logic. So he emotionally, and his wife, wanted you to be their representative to handle the sale of this house. So he used the logic inside of his analytical, logical brain to search for how in the world he was going to pitch this to himself to screwing over his friend.
All right, well.
Well, I mean, I'm calling it the way that it is because
Okay.
that's really what happened.
Well, he didn't want, right, so he didn't want to lose his friendship.
Well, you say it a
So-
lot nicer than I do.
Right.
But that's what happened.
Okay.
So, but you gave him something to logically hold on to that sold him emotionally to the
Right.
point where he felt good
Right,
choosing you versus the other one because you had something the other people don't have.
yes,
Right? So
Absolutely.
you watching, what is your thing that somebody else doesn't have? Because when you come into this situation, that is something that tips you over the edge because as much as he wanted you, without that little extra nugget, he's not even doing the auction right now. But because you had that as a tool, that gave him the emotional justification to choose where he wanted to go was with you and with us, right?
Yes.
And he did it, and that gave him the
Yes.
justification. So think about what your unique selling proposition is that your
Definitely.
competition doesn't have, and that could be the way you represent people with agency, could be your background, could be your sphere, could be your work ethic, could be a marketing pitch, could be your photography, could be anything.
Right.
But what do you have that your other competitors don't have, and that's what's going to win you the business.
I agree.
Right, so, and I think you did a
Totally.
great job. So I love this Tactical Tuesday because we get connections, we get knowing that he's analytical, we get speaking their whole language, we get persistence, we get follow-up, you get the technology with the video text, you get just kind of beating it, you overcoming objections, you get it all kind of rolled into one. So you are crushing it in the first year in the business, you're doing very well.
Thank you.
And
It's been a
great
lot
things.
of fun.
Plus,
Now I just have to sell it.
that's next, and you're working on it.
Yes, I'm working
HGTV
it.
just called and
Yes.
wanted to feature, is
Yes.
going to feature this house and Sherry on HGTV.
Yes.
And so shoot her a
excited.
message real quick. She can get her signature before she's famous. And it's awesome. So
I'm pretty
keep it up.
excited.
But the
Pretty excited.
persistence is
Yeah.
what wins.
Yes.
So hopefully
Never
this,
give up. Never give up. It's there for you.
that's not even an option.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
hopefully this gave you a little bit of encouragement to push us a little bit further or start doing the things you haven't done before. So that's what we have for Tactical Tuesday. So thanks for watching and thank you, Sherry. Cool.
Thank you.